to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to The Changing Stage, music gear talk from the manufacturers and musicians who define the biz. Here's your host, Florentino Buenaventura.
Welcome back to another segment of the Changing Stage radio show, powered by the mighty WS Radio Networks, the worldwide leader in internet talk radio. And we are brought to you by SIR Music Equipment Rental at SIR-USA.com, Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com, where they just want you to play it loud. Stars Align Now at starsalignnow.com. And they've got a concert coming up in July 15th down in San Diego, so if anybody's there, make sure you come on out. And then we have California Music Studios, and California Music Studios is in partnership with Stars Align, and they are providing a lot of the artists and talent that are going to be there, some of which have worked with Kevin Florno, who's brought us all together. And I'm going to hopefully say this right. See, I just said it. Munuyungo Jackson.
That's right.
I could do the Jackson.
Yeah.
Munuyungo was actually a designation when you were talking about that you got in South Africa.
Yeah. I went down to South Africa back in the early 70s. It was actually my first time going to South Africa, and I was playing with a group.
How were you, like 10 years old?
Yeah, right. No, I was 20-something, 24,
really?
25, something
I would have thought we were about the same age, man.
Hey, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm still a big kid, man. I'm just having fun and all this music and whatnot. But they asked me, to go to South Africa with a group called The Supremes. Do you remember them?
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah. This is after Diana Ross left.
Oh, okay, yeah. Who's
Mary Wilson?
Mary Wilson was the lead singer.
Yeah, it was Mary Wilson, Sherry Payne.
Okay.
And I can say her name anytime. I can't think. Wow, I can't say her name. But she replaced, I think, Florence.
Okay.
Anyway. It'll come as we're talking, but went to South Africa, and I'm like, yeah, to go to Africa? Are you kidding? Yeah. Because, I was listening to a lot of percussion. Okay, well, I can start before that.
We should tell you, you're the percussionist here tonight.
Yes.
We just kind of jumped into it, man, but yeah, percussionist extraordinaire, folks. If you get a chance to hear this project, which you will, because we're bringing it on again, you're going to hear some amazing percussion. So continue on. So I had to give you your props for that.
No, thank you very much. I should have brought some of the stuff out of my car. Some of the other things that I've worked on and things. I just finished producing a project called Kude, but it's Kumina. It's music from Jamaica that we don't know. It's African music from Jamaica, because the only thing we know from Jamaica is reggae, ska, and Ibenge.
Yeah.
So this is some other stuff, and then by a guy named Clifton Robinson, who is the head drummer from a group in Chicago called Montu.
Okay.
And he plays with deal with a lot of African instruments, mainly West African djembe and djembe, junjun, sangba, all these instruments from West Africa. But he's from Jamaica, so he learned that. But he also has these instruments from Jamaica, from the Lower East Side of Jamaica. Anyway. He showed me some of that stuff. I said, man, you need to do a CD. So I helped him produce a CD. And they just had the release party last Saturday, and I was in Jamaica, so I couldn't go to it. But anyway, that's why I got into playing percussion, because I had these rhythms all in my head, and I didn't know what it was until I started listening to, getting older and listening to congas, listen to like Mongo Santa Maria and Willie Bobo, Tito Puente, Ray Barreto, all these people, and back then I also did a record by a guy from the Philippines, but everybody thinks he's Puerto Rican. His name is Joe Bataan.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah. But, well, we're talking about the 70s, when I did that. But anyway, I was with got with this group, Supremes, and they said, you want to go to Africa? I said, heck yeah, I would love to go to Africa. And I didn't know much about it. I just said Africa. You know, a lot of people say, yeah, I'm going to Africa. Yeah, I'm from Africa. Africa is a continent. There's many different countries in Africa. But, you know, I want to know what, a lot of people don't ask, what country are you from?
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, you see some ladies, where are you from? I'm from Africa. So, yeah, great. Boom, 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 ba, 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 dee, be, dee, bo, 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 blah, blah. Anyway, so they were saying that, let's go to Africa. So we went to Africa with the Supremes, which is 3 of them and a manager and like 5-piece band. And there was another group going over there called the Young Hearts.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys remember these people.
I don't remember the Young Hearts. I'm usually pretty good about like some of these big bands, but
yeah. And a guy named Rufus Thomas.
oh, I know Rufus Thomas.
Yeah, had this song called Hot Pants
Yeah.
back then. So yeah, so we all went.
Was his daughter there with him?
No.
Not yet.
I remember his daughter. I met his daughter. But anyway, we were going over there, and we're on a 747. You know, we flew from L.A. to Paris, changed planes, and got on 747. And the plane had to stop on some island outside of West Africa to refuel to make it to Johannesburg. And back then, yeah, the 747, and it was about 270, 280. Back then, it was less than 300 people on the plane.
Yeah.
The plane's packed. So it was 270-something people. And the only black people on the plane was us. And it was like about 12 of us and maybe 1 or 2 others. The rest, and I'm not being prejudiced, but the rest white.
Yeah.
Then when we landed in Johannesburg, the first thing I wanted to do was kiss the ground. 'Cause it's like first time back in Africa. But I'm looking around, and the first black person I saw was pushing a mop and a broom. They're not working respectfully.
Yeah.
That I looked at that place. I said, well, what's going on here? And we went to customs and that whole thing. And they didn't really want to say it. They didn't really want to write it down, that for us to be accepted into South Africa, we had to be honorary white.
Wow.
So, yeah, and they put us in a hotel called the Landros. I remember all that stuff in Johannesburg. And anyway, so we got out and started meeting some people. The first day, second day. Anyway, there's one of the friend of mine, Joe Harris, is a bass player. He was living with me then, sharing a room in my house back then. And met some people, brought him back to the hotel. We were talking to him and hanging out. And they took us to Soweto the next day. Mm-hmm. Soweto, you know about Soweto.
Yeah.
And met some people there. And Soweto was rough back then because between Johannesburg and Soweto, that's, I don't know, about 20, 30 miles. I don't know about that far, but it just seemed like it. And it was just barren land, out there to separate the people from, black people from coming to Johannesburg. And they were very, very, you can tell the tension there, but the people were cool, It's still, they took us to a soccer game over there, and that's one of the things that they had to put their attention on, some kind of sports and whatnot, And it was the Kaiser Chiefs and the Orlando Pirates was the name of the 2 teams that they were playing each other. And so, when you walk in an arena like that, you go into a tunnel, and as you're coming out of the tunnel, it's kind of like you're kind of in the middle. You come out this tunnel and you look around, because the stands are going up like this and they're down, and then the field is down there. So when you're coming through the tunnel, come out, and I'm looking around this whole stadium. That's the first time I've ever seen. Now, I grew up in South Central L.A., and I've gone to, my schools I've gone to were, and the neighborhood I lived in was, a lot of people, not just black people. We had some Asian people, Chinese, some Japanese people, some Spanish, some white people. We had a lot of people in our neighborhoods. But we're going to Johannesburg, and we go through this arena, and the game is already on, and to look around, I've never been in the midst of that many black people all at one time. It was amazing. I mean, it's like black people, and it's like a lot of pepper and just little sprinklings of salt here and there. You know, there was a couple of light skinned people that said that, but it was amazing. And just we sat down, we checked it out, and it was kind of cool. And one of the teams kicked a goal. And to kick a goal is like so intense, you know, and people are so happy about that. I mean, a lot of people that were close to the field ran onto the field to hug their players. And this guy was out there, I guess he's a security guard that had a dog. His dog, he would have his dog chase everybody off the field so they could continue the game. So I'm just checking all that. They chased the people off the field so they can continue. The dog didn't bite anybody, but just, you know, barking and going through this. So people go back and sit down because it's like all this energy they got to have over there. So I'm checking this whole thing out in the field, and the guy is in the back. He's out on the field, and there's a track that goes around the field, too. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of like on the side. And he has to use the bathroom, the guy, the security guy with the dog. So he just unzips right there and just starts peeing. I said, what is this? What are you doing out there? You know, so they don't care. They just do what they do. South Africa, yeah. So anyway, I met some people out there, and, you know, we hang in and playing some music and whatnot, and they started calling me Munuyungo. Munuyungo. I said, what is that? Munuyungo. They said that it means a door.
Wow.
You know, a door you walk in and out of. An entrance.
Oh, a door.
And
I thought it meant a door like they adored you, but
no. Yeah, but I was like, wow, what does that mean? Okay, cool. So that's what I kept back there in the 70s. And so I, you know, dealt with that and changed it and put it on my driver's license, my passport. So I'm official now. Daryl Munuyungo Jackson.
Yeah. Well, so there was like four of y'all around here, so that kind of helps to differentiate.
This is the D club tonight.
Yeah, tonight, the K or D club. You know, I feel like I'm so left out, man.
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
I'll be a welcome D club here. So that's a great story, and you've been using that name. So before all that, though, there was Daryl, and he got, you know, you kind of touched on it. You know, when did you get that spark that this is going to be what you did for a living?
Playing music, wow. You know, I remember in elementary school, I used to rub my teeth together and play rhythms with my teeth, but nobody can hear me. You know? And I would always do it.
Dude, I could hear it. No, I couldn't hear it.
Okay, you couldn't hear it. Yeah, right. Anyway, yeah, so I just noticed I was doing that, and when I got into junior high school, back then we called it junior high school. Mm-hmm. You guys call it middle school now, you know. And I was going to Horace Mann Junior High School in South Central LA. And I was in a piano class, and I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters, and we all were taking music lessons. My 2 older brothers, my oldest brother was playing clarinet, and the next one was playing trumpet. And then me and my sisters would play piano. Would take piano lessons, you know. Yeah. And we had a big fat piano teacher named Miss Gerton, and you know, we had an upright piano in the house, and I'm trying to learn. And I got all the way to. It's called Fur Elise. Yeah. That's the wrong note. Then you get hit with a pencil, you know, stuff in your hands. But anyway, I was, because I had to do it, but I wasn't that much into it until I would start hearing some rhythms. It's back in the 60s, my mother and father, my father was the program director of a radio station called KTYM back then.
So you know about radio.
A little bit. I mean, I know about music, but as far as, you know, having a radio show, I never thought about doing that. Never had that. But he had a show, and so we used to get a lot of records. LPs would be coming in boxes, you know, every month.
Yeah, they were trying to get him to play.
Yeah. So they would go through
DJs had a choice back then.
Yeah. Huh?
DJs actually had a choice to play what they wanted to play back then.
Yeah. And I don't know how, you know, and my father became the program director, so I don't know who came up with the list of what was played, but then his theme song for his show was a song off of Horace Silver's record Never heard it. But I can't even think of the name of the song. But that was his theme song for his radio show. And you know, back then also on the radio, because there was other stations too, they would play like Latin jazz, you know. And some of the Latin jazz I used to listen to anything with a conga in it, you know. But let's see, there was a guy in junior high school named Harold Johnson. He was a piano player, and he's young. He was a gospel piano player because I think his father was a preacher of one of these churches, and he used to play in church. And all the girls used to like him, and because he can play, you know, piano, and he was good. And you know, when you're in middle school, junior high school, I mean, well, how old are you? You know, 13, 14?
Yeah, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, and you can play. That's like, wow. Because back then, we used to have talent shows, and we used to pantomime to records back then in the talent shows. So, and he was a grade ahead of me. So, and then I got a class in the orchestra, and when they were a big band or whatever, you know, they were teaching you to play. So I took a few lessons on playing upright bass, you know. Okay. And I remember playing this tune. It's a tune off a Tito Puente record. Boom, pop, bing, ding, up, boom, boom, T Mambo, boom, boom, do, the bass part. So I used to mess with that. And, but I don't know why I was, just something about these rhythms and whatnot. And from the records that I heard, that was like Latin jazz coming out. So when I went to high school, Harold Johnson was at Washington High School. He was a semester ahead of me in school. So when we got to school, they had a talent show. And back then, talent shows, people would play live music in a talent show. Well, you wouldn't pantomime like, you know.
You had to play.
Yeah, you had to play. And so he had, when he came on, it was him, a flute player, I think his name was David Crawford, the bass player, I forget his name, and two conga players. I went from watching Harold Johnson to the two conga players. I think it was Billy Jackson and Louis Palomo.
Okay.
And they're playing boo, pockin', binga, boo, boo, and they rocking. I said, oh man, congas. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do that because it was like hip, and I've always had that in my head. So I went and met the guys, and so started hanging out, and playing congas is your hands beating on skins, you know. And I always liked the sound of it because I always had these rhythms, and I was digging it. And plus, listening to music like with Mongo Santa Maria, Willie Bobo, Tito Puente, Ray Barretto, different people that anything that have, and some other people too. You know, had little groups that had congas in it back then. I said, oh man, that's what I want to do. So I would hang out with these guys, and we would go like to Griffith Park and play. If I start playing congas and they've been playing, I'm going to be behind those guys. Yeah. So I have to, but I still the rhythms in my head. So my father used to be, since he had a radio show, he was also the MC at a club called Marty's on the Hill way back then. We're talking about the 60s, 70s, you know, but actually in the 60s, the late 60s, you know. Marty's on the Hill was on top of the hills in Baldwin Hills where La Brea, Stocker, and Overhill met. Yeah. And you guys are from San Diego. Y'all don't know about this.
Actually, I was born here in Los Angeles, but yeah, I know a little bit, and I stayed here for school.
Oh, okay.
So I know a little bit of the area.
So, and he said, yeah, this guy that you might like is playing up here tonight. His name is Mongo Santa Maria. I said, oh, really? Yeah. So I had a girlfriend then she was a grade ahead of me, you know, named Priscilla Chu. You know, she's Chinese. Oh wow! So yeah, black people and Chinese were hooking up back then. You know, that was the thing. So anyway, we went to the club, and we're walking in the club, and it's like a partition. You come in the doors, and there's a partition here, and you have to walk all the way to the end. And to go in, and the stage is like on the right side, but you got to walk past all these people to come back and sit down. And they were playing this tune, boom, 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 And so I said, oh, yeah, they playing. It sounds good. We go all the way, and I'm looking, and this guy who's a drummer, but he's playing timbales. Timbales.
Yeah.
You know what timbales are?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the first time seeing it live, because I've seen it on records, and but I didn't know exactly what that was about, And this guy, as soon as we came into the club, went around participating, he started playing a timbale solo for Mungo Santa Maria. I'm like, oh, man. So we're going to the seats, and I'm looking back and bumping into people. Excuse me, my bad. No, we didn't use my bad back then. Just, excuse me, excuse me, not excuse me, excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. So we went and sat down, and so he's playing his butt up. I say, man, that's what I want to do. I want to learn that. So at the time, I had a paper route. I threw papers in the evening after getting out of school, called the Herald Examiner.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And so,
I remember hearing about the Herald back in the day.
Yeah, back then. And so I would save my money, and went to a pawn shop. No, it was not one of the pawn shops. It was an old music store, and they had a set of Leedy's timbales, no, Slingerland timbales in the window, like right there. I said, and I saw them. I don't remember how I wound up on Manchester, because it was like Manchester around 4th Avenue, 5th, in the avenue somewhere. And back then, I lived on 45th off of Western. So, Manchester, and it's like quite a distance. But somebody was telling me about, they got a set of timbales in that store, went over there. So I started putting money on it. I think they wanted $85 for them. So I have, $12 to put them away. And I would go back as much as I could to put payments on it. And I finally, I don't know, it took me almost a year to pay off $80. And I brought them home.
Determination right there.
Yeah. I brought them home. I didn't have any lessons, so I just saw that guy. And I would see, that's when I learned Willie Bobo played timbales and different people. And that's when I was studying and listening to a lot of Latin music, because Latin music, well, especially Latin jazz, just Latin music out of Cuba, Puerto Rico, and then it spread to other places, Venezuela, Colombia, and all that. But congas and timbales, which came out of Cuba, timbales is like, it came from timpani. That's how I got the name, timbales, because there was a lot of classical music, Spanish type classical music, and they played the timpani, the drum. Timpani is a big drum
it's big.
that you tune to different notes to play certain patterns and whatnot. And not so much pattern, but effects and whatnot in the music. But how music started to change, they started using that for other things to use for rhythms and whatnot. And then they made them out of metal, and they didn't have a bottom, because the timpani is a big round drum, and these would be open, and they put calf skins on them and had a way of playing them. And they played these different rhythms. I think the rhythm called dansong came from toot, 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 toot. That kind of thing. There's more history about it. But anyway, I started seeing these guys playing that, and I wanted to play timbales, because so I can accompany these conga players that I met. We go to the park, and I can just play rhythms and let them solo all over the place. I'm not going to try to solo on a rhythm where I don't know what I'm doing, but to play time, I was good with that, And so I took these timbales home. In the back, we had a big back room in the house that my father built after he moved into this house, and I had this metal cup to put on this like post that was hanging up over the drums, and using it as a cowbell, because they didn't sell any cowbells with it, so I saw pictures of them playing bells. So I said, well, let me get this metal cup, ding ding dong, ding ding dong, ding ding dong. So, and I would play with records. I would play with records, old Mongo records. Anything that had a conga on it, I would listen to it and play to it on these timbales. Of course, and everybody in the house will go up front, because timbales is a loud instrument.
Yeah, they're not quiet at all.
Yeah. And a lot of people play them hard. So I don't know if I was playing them hard. I couldn't play them that hard, because I had to listen to what I'm playing to. Yeah. So that's how I learned. I would listen to things and the technique and how I didn't know how the technique worked, but I was playing timbales before I was playing congas. I mean, I wanted to play congas, but I was into playing timbales. Yeah. And so studying all that stuff, and and then meeting different people, and let's see, in the 60s and 70s, music started to change. A lot of Latin jazz wasn't the way it was. Music was starting to go into avant-garde.
Yeah, definitely.
And so stuff like Mongo and Willie Bobo and all these people, they weren't as big as they were before. And radio stations would change with the people, whatever is the new hit record out, and
They'll go to whatever that is.
Miles back then, Miles when he had Miles Davis, what do you call that group? Quintet, sextet? Well, that was the one with Wayne Shorter and Herbie and Ron Carter and Tony Williams.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Miles, he would change up some stuff. So the stuff started to go a little bit wild. It wasn't like so much. It was like music started to change. So congas and Latin jazz and all that wasn't as big as it was.
Yeah.
So I had to follow where it was going to. And back then L.A. was a lot of Spanish people here, and mostly that we know of. Growing up in Los Angeles, we didn't know. We weren't New York. New York was like very tight with a lot of people: Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians. A lot of people that in L.A. wasn't like that. L.A. still like the South.
Yeah.
And so I changed over to listen to Latin music. Salsa, Latin jazz, whatever. Going to the Spanish-speaking clubs where they're playing salsa. And playing congas and timbales and people dancing. I said, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool right there, too. I didn't speak Spanish, but I was thinking that. But we would get certain records, like one record that my father got, a guy named Rolando Lacidi. And he was a black man, had on a suit, had a hat, and he had two sticks and he had his kind of hands up, and had these two little metal drums. They looked like timbales, but they were smaller.
Yeah.
Like, I think they call them timbalitos or whatever. And I'm saying, okay, well, let me check this out. See, he has hands,
Yeah.
He looks like he's doing it. And I played the record, and it's total, they're singing in Spanish. This is not like jazz where you can hear some tunes that, some jazz-type tunes. This was like Latin music with people dancing. I'm like, well, he sounds Mexican, because back then the people that we knew spoke Spanish then were people from Mexico.
Yeah.
Spanish people.
Yep.
We didn't. This is not black. What's up with this? Is this the wrong record inside of this? I see a picture of this black man was all in Spanish. I didn't know anything about that. That black people spoke Spanish from Cuba and Puerto Rico.
In Brazil, yeah.
And Brazil, they speak Portuguese.
Portuguese,
Yeah. That was another thing that I got into Brazilian music. I started getting into anything that had a drum in it, anything that had some rhythms. I started listening to these kind of things and learning.
Powerful stuff. So you've played with a number of different players. Can you tell us some of the folks that you've played with?
Well, let's see.
We know the Supremes.
Supremes, went with the Supremes. And there's a bunch of people there to see. And I started doing records back then. I got with a guy named Bill Summers. He had a group called Summers and the Summers Heat.
Yeah.
He was the one, the percussionist with the Headhunters back then.
Okay.
When Herbie put that together.
Yeah.
And I was doing a musical back then called $600 in a Mule. And we were in the pit. And
wasn't that Spike Lee had something? Didn't he have something to do with that?
Who?
Spike Lee's like family. The name $600 in a Mule sounds like something.
I don't even know if Spike Lee was born back then at that time.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Not him, but I thought maybe like his father or something. I don't know. Just kind of.
It could be. I don't know. I haven't done any studying like that. But anyway, the guy that was the worker playing timpani in the orchestra, because we were in a pit for this play, this musical that was on stage, was Harvey Mason.
Okay.
And Harvey Mason, so he's playing timpani and whatnot in this thing, and I'm playing timbales, and there's another drummer playing congas. What's his name? He played drums too. So we played some African stuff, because the whole story is about black people coming over here from Africa and then coming through the slave trade and that whole thing. Yeah. And so people did the music. So Harvey Mason said, "Hey, well, I'm working on a project. I want you to meet this percussionist with us, with Herbie Hancock." And I said, yeah. So he brought him to one of the shows, and he was down in the pit. So we let him play a little bit, and said, oh yeah. So yeah, it was cool. So we hung out all that night. He came to my house. He had a reel-to-reel recorder, a tape recorder, and he's playing all this music that he listened. I said, "Yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, I've been checking this stuff out too." So we've been talking about all kind of stuff, and wound up anyway. As time went on, we knew each other. When he was doing the Headhunters, then when it was finished and whatnot, he started his own band. He had a record deal through a company up in the Bay Area, and I joined his band. So we started doing some things, and then after that, I did one of the records with him. Got Ndugu to produce one of his records. He had one record, I forget who produced it. Then he did another record that Ndugu Chancellor, the great drummer.
Oh yeah, I've met Ndugu before over at the NAM show.
Yeah. So I got him to produce Bill Summers' second record. But then I started staying back in L.A. and started working with a guy named Skip Scarborough.
Okay.
And I was putting percussion on a lot of stuff. He was producing. He produced Patti LaBelle's record, Aretha Franklin, Frida Payne. Who else? About 4 or 5 records I played percussion on this record. Yeah. So I was staying down in L.A. So I started working with them. Then I started working. I was still working around town in Latin bands and doing a lot of different things with that. Playing some jazz also with some people. And then I started playing with a group. I don't know if you ever heard of them, the Temptations and Four Tops.
Oh yeah, I've done a few things, right?
Yeah. in the mid '80s and whatnot, you know. And then
both amazing seminal groups, yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, who did I work with? There's a lot of in between. Oh, I worked with Ronnie Laws. I met the Laws family, Deborah Laws and Eloise Laws, and we did a really nice show.
One of the players today played with. Was it Daryl played with Ronnie Laws?
Could be.
So.
Daryl's a good looking guitar player. He's starting to spread out also. All right, a lot of people. Let's see. Then when I was with the Four Tops and let's see, Ronnie Laws. I may have been with the Laws before then. I have to look at my calendar to see all this. And then I got this gig with a guy named Joe Zawano. You know who that is?
Say that name one more time.
Joe Zawano.
I do not, sir.
You don't know? You ever heard of a group called Weather Report?
Oh, yeah. That I do know.
That's Joe Zawano's group.
Ah, okay.
It was Joe Zawano and Wayne Shorter.
Okay.
After Wayne left the Headhunters, the Herbie Hancock.
His project.
Sorry, Miles Davis project. So anyway, and so they were. It was called Weather Report, and then they broke up. Wayne Shorter went to do his own stuff, but Joe Zawano kept the group, and he wanted to get another percussionist. So I went to his house and auditioned, and I can't stand auditions. I've done a lot of auditions. I've never got a job from auditioning. I can't stand auditions. People, ask me, "You want auditions?" No, I will not. I remember a long time ago auditioning for Janet Jackson, and everybody was there playing. And Janet Jackson and Patrice Rushen was the MD back then.
Okay.
For Janet Jackson, and they're all watching everybody, and we're playing, and everybody's trying to smile to look like that we're doing. And to me, my thing is, let me listen to everybody. Let's play together. To me, it was just like not happening. So I couldn't pretend. I had this look on my face like, what is this we're doing? Everybody's doing a show for her. I'm like, let's play together and get tight. Then we can do a show. Yeah. Well, until then, it's like, anyway, I never got the gig. But anyway, so I went over to Joe Zawano's house. He said, yeah, somebody was telling me he had a percussionist. I don't know who it was, but they fired him because he looked African, but he wasn't just playing. His playing wasn't happening. So I went over his house, to Joe's house. He was living up in Malibu. And so just me and him, and we're playing piano. He's playing piano, and I'm playing. I think I brought a conga, a couple of things up there, and we're just playing. He's going into some different 7, 6, 5, 8. Different, 7 is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Most tunes we play is in 4/4.
Yeah.
A boom, 2, 4, a 1, 2, pack 4, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of things like that. He'll go to some different places. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 1. It was used to be a tune called Take 5.
Yeah. Paul, you don't know that song. That's one of his favorite songs. He was playing that one.
Oh, sorry to hear that. No, just kidding. One, two, and 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and 3. So we do like that. But 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When you play that back, count to 7. So anyway, so we were playing like that. So we were cool. So he got me in this band, Joe Zavino. It was Joe Zavino. The name of the band was this ain't the time. Zavino Syndicate. Zavino Syndicate. It was called Zavino Syndicate, and so we played some gigs around some things. It was interesting. People want to hear some music. They come to this thing. This is not like smooth jazz.
Yeah, it's like real serious heavy playing.
We go to these different places, and he's from Austria.
Okay,
and that was the whole thing. He was giving me some history about where he's from and whatnot. Being at the time, he was an older guy. And he was telling me he was a Hitler Youth.
Wow.
He was a Hitler Youth. And Joe Zavino, and great piano player. And he's from Austria, not Germany. And Hitler was from Austria, not Germany.
Yeah.
So, he was taught, this whole thing about, who's who and what's what. And, I don't know all the particulars about it, but he was telling me that he learned, I was teaching him all these things. But then they lost the war and it was crazy. But he was into playing music and jazz. Jazz was brought to Europe in the 30s, 20s, 30s, something like that. Jazz was jazz from the United States. Jazz came from the United States.
It's one of the only music styles created here.
Right.
And blues.
So I went to a museum over there in Strasbourg. Strasbourg is where they make the Mercedes.
Yeah.
And I was over there playing with, kind of jumping ahead of myself. I was with Diane Reeves, Angelique Kidjo, and Liz Wright. Mm-hmm. And it was called Sing the Truth. It was a program that we did, and Terry Lynn Carrington, the drummer, was the MD on it. And anyway, we played these different cities in Europe, and I went up there and saw this museum about Mercedes,
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying that through all of that in Mercedes, Germany, and they was even when they went to the war with Hitler and whatnot, they was apologizing about that, but they had to make war vehicles and whatnot. Got kind of out of making cars for people getting around. But part of it that was up there was the thing about jazz was brought over by black people from the United States in the 20s and 30s, and they really celebrated that. And I was like, wow, nobody said that in the United States about that. Yeah. So I really dug the respect that they had over there for that. Anyway, so Joe Zavino was a Hitler Youth, and when they lost the war, he wound up coming to New York anyway and got into the music, and so he learned more about the real world and what we did and how everything is not like what Hitler was saying about things. But anyway, so I played with him. He didn't have a lot of dates going on. I think the last date was at the NAMM in '89.
Okay.
And his next gig was not till June or something like that. The NAMM is in November. Sorry, January. January. Yeah, January. And so then I got a call from a guy named Vince Wilburn. Vince Wilburn is the nephew of Miles Davis.
Okay.
And he loves his uncle, loves his music, and he even got his uncle Miles to start playing again back in the 70s, 80s. Yeah. I think 80s, 90s, 80s, something like that. And so
that was about the time a friend of mine started playing with him, Benny Wrightfeld.
Yeah.
Benny,
yeah,
great bass player.
Great bass player. As a matter of fact, so they asked me to play with Miles. I was like, why would I want to play with Miles? I mean, Miles is like, he's the cat. That's a lot of stuff to learn. And so anyway, I sent him a video of what I did with Joe Zawano, and so they liked it. So the manager asked me, "You want to play with Miles?" I said, "Yeah, I mean, hell yeah, well, what's this going to be like? It's going to be a lot of money involved in it and all that, and blah, 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 blah." And so anyway, I went, and Benny was in the band, and
I have to shoot him an email on that one.
huh?
I have to shoot him an email on that one. Hanging out with one of your old bandmates.
Yeah, it was another thing. He was there for a while, and that was a whole other thing. He was Miles that liked that go-go music from D.C.
Yeah.
Because Ricky Wellman was the drummer then.
Yeah.
Foley,
D.C.
You from D.C.?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a lot. It was to me, it was serious school. It's not like we got paid a lot of money on that gig, but it was a lot to learn. There's a lot about that was amazing. Playing with Miles, I didn't think I would ever be doing that, and it's about an ear thing. So I played with him about the whole year, and then started doing some other things back then. Got out of that. I guess he wanted to change up the band again and be more, not like having a bunch of percussion in there. More, Miles is always going ahead of himself. He wanted to hear something different. He said, I used to swing. Well, I don't want to keep doing that again. He was listening to Prince. And,
he had that stint where he did that stuff with Prince.
Yeah. So he's just into, advancing music and going to some other places, So a lot of people fired him. Some people stay in that same spot where they are. It's a free world. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Musically, if that's what you want to do. So so I played with Miles. And then after that, I got with the Pointer Sisters. From Miles to the Pointer Sisters?
Were you with Kevin with the Pointer Sisters at that time, or was it just a little bit after?
Kevin?
Kevin used to play with the Pointer Sisters.
Kevin.
Florida.
Oh, no, I wasn't with him then.
Okay.
No. But Melvin Davis was playing bass. You know Melvin Davis?
I don't.
Great bass player. He was playing with the Pointer Sisters when I got with the Pointer Sisters. And I'm working on a project right now with Melvin Davis. We've been knowing each other for a while. I played on some of his records. We've done a lot of things. Right now we're working on Joni Mitchell
Tribute
record, Joni Mitchell tribute record that Shaka Khan is doing.
Oh wow! Okay.
And he's the MD with Shaka Khan, and he's producing this record. So he asked me to play on that. So I'm working on that, on that project. Shaka Khan with Joni Mitchell project, and I'm also working with from South Africa.
Jonathan Butler.
Jonathan Butler, working on his record. I worked on his record. Now, what year did I was with you? I think I got with Jonathan Butler after Miles, also after the Pointer Sisters. Man, for me to think back, and sometimes I'm nuts, man, to get who I play with, when, whatnot. I'd have to think about it and say, who did I play with first? To get all that stuff mixed up, my brain goes nuts. I have to think about all the people I play with.
Kind of a blur.
Yeah, I played with George.
So many great players.
Yeah, George Howard. I did tour with him. Went on tour with Herbie.
Yeah.
So I think it's like Miles, and I work with Stevie Wonder right now. I've been working with Stevie for about 22, 23, 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah, still doing that. In fact, we're going to Canada this Saturday to do a thing on Sunday.
Paul had an experience where he actually stood next to Stevie Wonder, and that was kind of life changing for him over at the NAMM show.
Ah, yeah. Stevie is down. Stevie is cool. Stevie is Stevie. And you let Stevie be Stevie. He's done so much music. He's done so many things. He's got ears big. He listens to a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, you can tell that he brings it all in and makes it his own.
Yeah. So anyway, I playing percussion, man. I mean, I'm always listening to people play. I'm learning as we go. Right now, I'm just meeting a bunch of new people, young people. There's a guy named Weeby, who's a young guy from, I think he's from St. Louis. Bad cat. He plays a drum called a djembe. Are you familiar with the djembe drum?
Yeah.
Yeah, from West Africa. He has that concept. I mean, clean player.
Yeah.
Bad cat. I said, man, you a bad cat, man. All right, shoot.
Yeah, because how you strike it gives it just different tones and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And djembe just happens to be one of the most popular drums on the planet right now, more popular than a conga drum.
Yeah, because it's like drum lines. Or a lot of people are using the djembes for drum lines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or drum circles, not lines, but
Drum circles. You know, I remember back then, man, we used to get together in the park, Griffith Park, and play congas, back then. We didn't call it no drum circle or nothing like that, but everybody would come and drink and smoke and do whatever and just play. Places like Griffith Park and different places, And so now it's called a drum circle, and it's organized, and anybody can do it now.
Yeah.
Thanks, hippies.
Hippies.
All the hippies, yeah.
Yeah, so now they're starting to run them out because Leimert Park is kind of like where I'm at. It's like kind of like the center of, well, first of all, South Central L.A. South Central L.A. used to be like around Florence, Maine, down that way, down toward Watts. Florence is like quite a ways south, Then we had that riot back then, and we've had a couple of riots.
Since the Watts riots.
See, those riots are starting to spread South Central out a little bit because the people on the news will call it South Central L.A. They're fighting down there. There's a riot in South Central L.A., So now the Rodney King thing, when they did that, whatever, the police and the riot broke out. Now the riot goes all the way up to the Santa Monica Freeway. See, now South Central L.A. is anything south of the Santa Monica Freeway.
Yeah.
It's not, which is
not quite the same as it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's spread out now. Plus they went to the other side, north of the Santa Monica Freeway. It's almost like Koreaville, and I just noticed that during the riots, people breaking stores. I don't know about anybody killing anybody like that. They're just going nuts, breaking down stuff, burning stuff down, and a lot of black businesses were being burnt down because a lot of black people didn't know that there was some black businesses down there. They just started burning up different things.
Protesting,
Yeah, it's crazy. But there's some Korean people that would get on top of it. They have businesses like Western Olympic around at Pico. It's just like they have buying a lot of buildings, old buildings to live in.
Where I was born and raised at, over at Olympic in New Hampshire, that was predominantly Hispanic and African American. Now it's all Korean. All Korean,
they are spreading out. Anyway, they got on the roofs of their buildings with a Korean flag and guns on top of their buildings to protect their buildings during the riots. Now, I'm thinking if some black people got a red, black, and green flag and got on top of a building with some guns to protect their building, do you think that they would get shot off of the building? You think the police will come down and get them up? They didn't do that with the Koreans.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
So this is kind of crazy. And I'm not saying that there should be some segregation or anything like that, but just noticing what's going on.
There's always differences.
Yeah,
definitely with that, and it's just, I think that kind of brings into the changes that are going on in the music business and all those different things. With the way the business is now, and from your perspective, what kind of advice would you give the youth of today? What would you tell these kids based on all this experience? You've played with the best of the best: Miles Davis, Stevie Wonder. Going back to the Supremes. The leader of Weather Report. You've had some great experiences. What's that piece of advice that you can share with the youth today that will, hopefully give them some insight and some illumination into what they should be doing?
It's amazing. Like Miles was listening to a lot of music also and learned a lot of music from a lot of young people. It's not like he invented this. He got Marcus Miller, who was such a young guy, produced his records.
Yeah.
He would listen to Sting. Prince. Yeah, Prince. Not different people younger than him. He would listen to this
players.
To players play. So my thing is, keep your ears open and listen and learn and study. There's right now going to school is important. To learn, because they're teaching you about music. They're also teaching you about the business of music and how to be a successful person in this business. It's not just about playing notes and playing a lot of notes and being, a lot of people that can play a lot of notes and fast and all that, they're like, yeah, I'm bad, I can do that,
Yeah.
And and if people like you, hey, well, that's cool, that'll help. Then the next thing is being a person, respect it. A lot of things is happening now. I mean, to people our age, we're looking at a lot of young people that have their pants drooping. What do they call it?
Pants drooping, yeah.
It's called
Sagging.
Sagging, yeah, sagging. Yeah, it's crazy. It's people sagging. Why? What does that mean?
Kevin Dorsey had the best line in the last his episode. I guess there was a rapper that was going to go out and get an award. He's just like, look, man, pull up your pants. Be respectful.
Yeah.
You're going to get an award here. After the show, go ahead and do what you want to do. While you're going out there, show some respect to your parents, to the awards, to the community, and you represent black folk. You need to go out and show some respect. And so I guess the guy did.
Yeah.
So, it does make a difference.
That's good. So my thing is, I tell people to just, be respectful, be respected, respect,
Yeah.
and whatever. My thing is, whatever you do comes back to you. Whatever you do comes back to you. If you give respect, you'll get respect.
Yeah.
Don't give it to get respect back.
Yeah.
But try to be the best person you can be. And things will start coming back. And yes, you will learn some things. There's a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. There's some good things. Like I said, we got 2 eyes, 2 ears. We all got a nose and an asshole. So anyway,
we stuck that one in.
Yeah, bloop, bloop.
Bloop, bloop.
We got a quote in this segment too.
Yeah. But there's some young guys though that's coming out playing their butts off. There's a guy named Kamashi Washington. He's a young guy. He's a saxophone player. Bad. He's the son of a friend of mine, who also plays drums. He's surrounded with a bunch of other guys who can play, and they just did a live CD called the Epic.
Yeah.
Epic. And so you got to check it out. And I wound up playing with them too, so I'm on that CD.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, there's a lot. So he's being called for a lot of things too, because he can play. He has heart. He soils his butt off just what he does and what he says and how he says. He's got hair all over the place. But for young people, I'm like, don't listen to as much music as you can. Don't just learn one thing. There's a lot of people that want to be DJs now. And they want to do what they do. And so there's some DJs that they play for people. They play music for people. I met a guy where I was just in Jamaica, and we were going there. There's a guy that flew down there from New York, and he had a case, a big anvil case with some connectors that you can see you can plug things into. I said, is that for DJ? Yeah, I just had this man. I said, that's great. What are you doing here? He said, this is my 5th time being sent to Jamaica. He's playing private parties and different things. I said, what kind of music do you play? He said, I play all kind of music. I listen to all kind of music. He says, if you want some Latin music, I do that. Some R&B, I do that. Different kind of music. He does that. A dance hall music.
Jamaican dance hall.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Jamaican dance hall and stuff from the different islands, Trinidad. Different things like that. He said he even does stuff for kids. He can do some children's music and whatnot. I said, yeah, I did a children's CD also called Tie Dye. So I said, yeah, that's great. Because my son, I have 2 sons, and they're both like DJs, and they do some other things too. So I'm saying, man, I think in the music business is so slow sometimes, and it's different for a lot of people.
It's feast and famine.
Huh?
Feast and famine.
Yeah, feast and famine, and then some things up in the middle. But I think that if you are constant, some things that you want to do, I would say go for it, but also understand how money works and how to make some money, how to save some money. If you had a career doing some, like this guy, he says this is his 5th time going over there, and he works on subways in New York.
Yeah.
And he's almost ready to retire. But that's what he does. I know some other people. Daryl, that was just here, the saxophone player. Yeah. He just retired from his job, and I forget what it was. But he retired, and now he got his whole life doing what he's doing. And so I don't know. If you want to play music, I would say study, practice. You know, learn the instrument,
Learn your craft. Yeah.
learn your craft, learn a little history about it. You know, enjoy it. Because me, I'm a percussionist. I feel like a big kid sometimes. I mean, I do. I collect anything that makes a sound. Let's see, this thing has a different sound here.
Yeah.
Anything that makes a sound, I'm gonna collect it and put it in my bag, and
Paul's gonna start becoming the cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Okay. Go ahead, fingers.
That's another one. Go ahead, finger.
But I mean, you know, I like there's some people that scat their butt off. You know, you listen to some of the old jazz and people scatting. I mean, I'm not a scatter, but I like to sing rhythms and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
It's I've been having fun with that. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Boom, 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 bing, big, baby, a zoom, ba, bidding, bidding, ba, taticudu, taticudu,
Awesome.
It's good fade out
It
music.
is. That is. I was gonna start going in. You know,
Yeah, do the sponsors
do
over
the sponsors. So, you know, we're at our hour time frame. You know, thank you very much, Munuyungo.
That was an hour?
Yeah, that's an hour, brother.
Oh, my God.
It goes fast, don't it? Don't it? It goes-
Damn.
Yeah, this is. It's been a great day. This has been awesome. You know, something I don't always get a chance to do, but you know, since we're here, I want to give thanks to the Lord above for
Yes.
making all this happen and providing us such a wonderful environment. You know, with Westlake Studios, they're graciously giving us a nice big fat room to kind of do our radio show out of. The talent that Kevin Flournoy, I want to thank Kevin Flournoy for all of the things that he's done. April for opening up the session to us for all this stuff, and you know, for all the players, you know, Munuyungo, I really appreciate you know, your time and your stories because they were very fascinating and compelling. I think the people listening will enjoy it as much as I have, and I think the crew here has as well. And you know, WS Radio, the #1 worldwide leader in internet talk radio. Thank you. And of course, our sponsors who make all of this fun stuff happen: Pitbull Audio at pitbullaudio.com, SIR at SIR-USA.com, Stars Align Now at starsalignnow.com, and then California Music Studios at californiamusicstudios.com. And we're going to leave it with this one last thought.
I just want to bring up also, I wrote a book called The New Neighborhood Phonetic Ebonic Dictionary.
Oh, yeah.
You guys look that up. It's some funny stuff, but it's real about
Awesome.
our language.
Your URL for you for your, you know, for any of your music or anything that you're doing, like a website that you might have.
Munuyungo.com. MUNYUNGO.com.
The only one.
That's me. That's what I've been doing.
Thank
Gotta
you.
upgrade that bad boy.
Thank you, everybody. And this is the Change Stage out for this session here at Westlake Audio.
Nice.